Hi, and welcome to our second instalment of Play Scripts. And today, I gave you a little insight into what we were going to be doing. I did say we were going to do it tomorrow, but actually, it was our spelling test, wasn't it? So it's the following day. It's Wednesday now, and we are looking at The Twits by Roald Dahl. Now, The Twits by Roald Dahl is a fabulous book. It's full of creativity and description and that horrible couple of Mr. and Mrs. Twit. Now, it has been transformed and adapted from a book into a play script. So that's what we're going to be thinking about today, is how authors' books are adapted into play scripts and how different they are or how similar they are. So what I've got for you is I have the opening of The Twits, that's from the book. And I've also got the opening, and some of you saw it on Monday because you've done the extension. This is the opening of The Twits, but the play. What I've got for you is a comparison activity where I want you to, there's a series of questions. Now, I'm going to read both of them to you. So you just sit back and relax. Obviously, if you want to print them off and you're able to print them off, please do, and you can follow along with me. That'd be brilliant. Obviously, I know some people, printers aren't, it's difficult with printers, printer ink and printers and paper, it's chaos. But if you're able to, it would be great. So go for it. Otherwise, just listen to it. Listen to where the characters come in. Listen to the narrative in the story and listen to the differences with the play script. Then you can listen to this over and over again. Obviously, the YouTube video doesn't go away, so you can listen to it as many times as you want to. But the activity, what you've got to do, and this is on Shobi, and obviously if you don't have a printer, that's fine, you can just type straight into here. Otherwise, print it off and write into it or type in, and up to you. But I want you to compare the chapter from the book, the opening chapter, and the play. So you've got a series of questions. So it's things like, well, how is the layout different? That means, how is it set out on the page? How much of the dialogue in the book is used in the play? So you need to think and listen really carefully. If you aren't able to print it off, you either need to look carefully on the screen and check back between the pages, or listen really carefully to Mrs. Crowson reading it through to you. Do the stage directions follow the description in the book? Are any parts missing? Has any extra speech been added? And why is it necessary sometimes to have a narrator in a play? So they're the questions. You'll see on Shobi I've added an extra one. Now, the Twits one is relatively short, actually, but for some of us, reading is not easy, and I know that, and that's fine. I know some of you in this class love reading, and it would just be, this will be done in minutes, and that's fine. So I have also added a much longer piece from The Witches by Roald Dahl. And it is a much longer piece. It's 4 or 5 pages long, exactly the same exercise. It's up to you. You can either choose just to go straight into The Witches if you wish, or you can do the Twits first and get a feel for how you're doing it and then do The Witches, or you can, it's your choice. Okay, but it is an extension activity, so all of you can do it. I'm not saying just some of you have to do it. You can all go for it if you want to. You do need reading stamina. And that, what I mean by that is you need to be able to keep going and going and going with the reading. I found it tough because there's a lot of words on the page. So if you're someone that finds reading tricky, have a look at it, see what you think. But I'm not expecting all of you to do this. It is an extra task today. I'm expecting all of you to complete the comparison between the Twits. That is the actual activity for today's lesson. And that's what I want the questions to be about. The extra part, the extension about the Witches, is just getting another comparison. So it's on there for anybody that wants to have a look at it. You don't have to look at it today. You could do it at a future time. It's just quite interesting. Same author, different book. A lot more text to read and see what you can find. So, get your pieces of paper if you've printed them. I'll read the chapter first. Mr. Twit. Mr. Twit was one of these very hairy-faced men. The whole of his face, except for his forehead, his eyes, and his nose, was covered with thick hair. The stuff even sprouted in revolting tufts out of his nostrils and ear holes. Mr. Twit felt that this hairiness made him look terrifically wise and grand, but in truth, he was neither of these things. Mr. Twit was a twit. He was born a twit, and now at the age of 60, he was the bigger twit than ever. So that is the opening passage, the opening chapters of the book by Roald Dahl. Okay, that's the book. So now, moving on to the play script. Now you'll notice on the play script, it starts with the setting, the props, a description of the characters, Mrs. Twit. I'll read these parts now to you, okay? So sit back and relax. The Twits, a set of plays. Setting, an empty space. Props, a small table and 2 chairs. A small piece of green cheese and sardine tail. These could be mimed. Mrs. Twit's walking stick must be able to break halfway down. Perhaps one half plugs into the other half. 2 glasses of beer. Mrs. Twit's glass eye. This could be a marble hidden in her hand until she needs to remove it. An enormous mallet made of foam rubber. Sound effects. Percussion instruments as appropriate, especially drum rolls, musical pings to accompany sudden ideas, and drum beats for tension to heighten the slapstick moments when the Twits hit each other or fall over. Lighting. Nothing special is required, but it might be effective to brighten the lights when Mr. and Mrs. Twits make their first entrance. So that's the kind of direction for the stage management, I suppose. Meet the Twits. Curtain up. The cast, all except Mr. and Mrs. Twit, assemble in a semicircle. Drum roll. Actor 1. They're shocking. Actor 2. They're smelly. Actor 3. They're silly. Actor 4. They're stupefyingly stupid. Actor 5. Get ready to meet the one and only. Thank goodness, the Twits. The semicircle splits to admit Mr. and Mrs. Twit, who enter with showbiz flair. Mrs. Twit carrying a walking stick. They act out the words of the narrators. Actor 8. So the actors are clearly the narrators. The best way to describe the Twits is disgusting. Actor 9 says, Mr. Twit. Mr. Twit steps forward. And that is the opening of the play. Opening of the book, opening of the play. So I would like you to answer these questions. Up to you how you do it. You can do it, handwrite them on the sheet. If you print the sheet out, you can type it on directly onto the sheet. Entirely up to you, whatever works for you, and upload them onto Showbie. Like I said about the extension, I've explained it on Showbie. Do the Twits first, and then have a look at the witches if you wish. You don't have to do the questions. I'd just like you to get thinking about the comparisons still. Okay, so have a look. Enjoy comparing them. Quite interesting.